Welcome to the Dad Show podcast. How y'all doing? Today is part 4.
And you know, like that's the whole thing you were talking on earlier was, you know, like how your kids were and how your boys were, and as crazy as it may seem, our kids want to be us. You know, you were talking about the addiction through being hereditary and all that, you know, growing up and you seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be like my older brother. I wanted to be like my dad.
Yep.
You know, and so that's probably where the alcohol addiction came from, was through those avenues. And that's what I not had to do, but that's what I done whenever I hung out with my dad. That's what I done whenever I hung out with my brother as I got older. And, you know, that's what I wanted to be like. And so, you know, I do believe that 100% that a lot of people and a lot of kids develop those traits and stuff of that nature through those avenues of wanting to be like, and it may not be their dad. It may not be their brother. It may be somebody else that they look up to on the street that they're doing that, and that's who they value, and you know, that's how they want to be. So those traits are brought in, and then just addiction comes from there.
Absolutely. And it don't discriminate either. It's anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It can overcome at your most vulnerable state.
Yep.
And that's to me, that's like you said, it's so demonic, substances and alcohol, and truly coming from the devil, because I believe he sees you at that point in your life and he's like, I got him. I can deceive him right here.
Well, what better way to bring you to your knees than a big glass of bourbon?
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
You'll go to your knees quick. And it doesn't play.
No.
It's straight from the devil itself, I'm telling you.
So you mentioned where you are today. So let's go through that. Like, where are you today? Like, where's your thought process? Where's your stability? You know, all the above.
The stability is knowing that I have the strength to do whatever I want. And then understanding that, you know, I've done a pretty good job so far.
Yeah.
I've finally given myself that credibility. So when I say my mind is strong now, I feel like going through what I did and kind of sharpening my edges through that process, it's really made me stronger in that, you know, if I can say no to something so tempting, I can say no to a lot of things that distract me.
Yeah.
And that's down to simple things, you know, down to when you are doing the dishes and your kid wants something, a no comes from, that's a distraction. You know, it's okay to be distracted in those moments.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a distraction. I think that's kind of where it's taken my mind, to where it's the next process of maturing as adults. You know, men, we mature in strange ways. I think it's through, you know, one, the counsel of other men. Two is just the natural process of it. Growing and learning and becoming a little more wise. And then letting go of the less juvenile things.
Yeah.
Because in order for you to grow, I think part of you has to die just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's staying in those steps, not going back, you know, because regressional, it's just going to mess things up. You know, and especially I think going into our 40s, this is something I was thinking about over Christmas. We're at my wife's grandparents' house, and it's like out of a Hallmark movie. I'm telling you, man, it's ridiculous. They have this fireplace that he hand built. It's got this great woodwork, and he built this house himself. And Papa's sitting there by the fire, by the tree. It's out of a Hallmark movie. Yeah. And I was like, you know, we're almost 40. It's like, what's next? You know, what does 10 years look like?
Yeah.
You know, kids are in their 20s. What does it look like for us? So those are kind of more of the thoughts that I'm having now. It's like, how do I shape myself now to be the best possible thing I can be, to make sure those years are fantastic?
Yeah.
I think that's what develops, is your ability to see more forward. So, and I think coming out of something like what I've been dealing with, it's it's just been the greatest mind shift I could possibly have.
Yeah.
Letting go of the past and moving forward. I think that's what's going to give me direction for the next several years.
Relying on your wife more, relying on your relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be more and I'm sure you were prior to, but I guess one of the things that comes to mind, you've let this out. You've been vulnerable. You've confessed that, hey, I can't handle this alone. Will that help you believe in the future? Hey, I can say these things. I can communicate with my wife or somebody else and admit it and get through it and obviously build your marriage stronger through it. The biggest takeaway I have for anybody listening is exactly what you've done. Is the number one way to get over anything that you're battling is just to simply let it out and admit it.
Yeah.
Like that's so sound like we just talked about. That's a small baby step.
Yeah.
But to do that takes so much to say that I am broken. I'm hurting, I'm struggling, and this is what it is.
Yeah, you have to give it a name, I think, because if you don't make it real, then it's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
And what are you arrogant enough to think you can deal with it yourself?
You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's if you don't hang it up, give it over. If you don't seek counsel in your friends or your family, it's one, what are we even doing here together in the first place?
Yeah.
If we were to be autonomous, would be autonomous. We're not. So relying on those relationships, especially our wives, is what helps the most.
Yeah.
Because you can't figure these things out on your own.
No. And the navigating together, we've hit on it multiple times, how much stronger.
Right.
How much stronger it'll make you and your marriage, your relationship is really invaluable to think about how much it does help.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's like you can't do it on your own.
No.
I know some folks, you go through life without marriage, and that's fine. But I think finding that person that not only balances you, but builds you up.
Yes.
Encourages you.
And that's so, golly, that's so powerful too, dude, to have a supportive spouse, no matter whether it's the man or the woman. If you support through everything,
right?
Like, I mean, into building a business, into confessing that you're broken, into your financial standpoint, into anything that you may enter throughout your marriage, like to know that you have the support no matter what of your spouse. Now, if you're doing stupid things, that comes with stupid consequences.
Absolutely.
All right. So now that doesn't, offer up support, but if you're trying to do the good things, if you're trying to do all the above, like the support from your spouse, golly, is so powerful, man, to know that no matter what I'm going to do, they're going to be behind me 100% and pushing me and supporting me and cheering me on and there regardless of what the outcome may be.
Yeah. And as men, that's all it takes too to drive us.
Yes.
If our wives just say, "Hey, good job,"
Yeah.
we're like, "Oh, for real?"
Yeah.
That's what builds us up.
I agree 100%.
And that's all we need a lot of times. So that support is great.
And that's not only just from a spouse, man, from like a friend standpoint.
Yeah.
Hearing that from another male figure is huge too. Man, I'm proud of you. You did a great job. Like,
thank you.
You're strong. Like, you overcame that. Like, all those little nuggets, man, build men up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Golly.
Yeah, it's been rough. So come out on the other side though. Thank goodness.
Well, I'm proud of you, man. And what you've, I was seeing here, if there was anything else I wanted to touch on from this post, I guess one of my main questions is, have you been able to continue not drinking, not touching alcohol?
I haven't at all. And really, it's the cravings. You have cravings at times.
I haven't had a drink in 9 years now.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I still, like, at times I'm like, man, I'd like to have a beer right now.
Yeah.
Man, I'd like to have, all that is still, and it's that continuous, it's just a rinse and repeat kind of deal, like to continue staying away from it. And I'm 9 years out now, and still.
Yeah, I've stayed away from it. And, the motivation to stay away from it is much better than the short-term gain that you'll get.
Yeah.
Because it's such a double-edged sword. And if I would tell my sons anything about drug use or alcohol or something, just avoid the alcohol altogether.
Yeah.
It's like, definitely don't be a drug addict. But alcohol, it's just not good.
Yes. And it's such a way of life now. Like anything you in the world is alcohol related.
Right.
And it's so built up. And dude, I'll tell you, and anybody listening as well, when you're trying to do this, when you're trying to fight an addiction, no matter what it is, the devil will put it on the hearts of the people that are closest to you to try and get you off track of where you're going. And it's a really close family member to me. I've looked up to him for so long. When I was bold and stated this, that, I'm not going to touch another drop of alcohol. And I was openly telling people this, this person that I was so close to, had looked up to all my life and everything, said, you've got a reason not to right now, but once this is all over, we'll see what the future holds. And this is a person that I looked up to. Okay. And I'm like, did you really just like, maybe you said it under your breath, but did you really just say that out loud to me? And, I had to put my mind in the mindset of, that's the devil trying to deceive me. That's not this person that I look up to and is so close to saying this to me. Like, and man, so what I go with that whole story is that the devil will use the people closest to you that you look up to everything to try and get you off your track of doing good. So please stay strong, stay determined, don't get off track, and don't let those people,
absolutely
take you off of it.
I've got work to do, so I keep myself busy. So we got tons of plans when we get back, and I'm heading back tomorrow. So wife will be heading back in just a few days. So we've got plenty to keep me going forward. House projects and just surviving the rest of the winter in Maine.
I don't understand it, man. We landed in Minnesota for Kennedy's back surgery in January of 22. We flew out of Knoxville. It was 70 degrees. We landed in Minneapolis, and it was -6 degrees when we landed. And I was like, who in their right mind wants to live in these kind of conditions? So
that's what you get the bean boots for.
Man, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to say or talk about, man?
I think so. I think we covered quite a bit. Maybe we'll save it for another couple years down the road.
Another update.
See what shenanigans we're both up to then. So
if any listeners want to come and connect with you or follow you, man, where can they find you?
Well, initially we had started a page. I really haven't done much with that. It ended up just not being something that I enjoyed doing. So I have Facebook. Sometimes I'm posting some household pictures on there. All the pictures of our renovation are on there. So I can get you a link to that, or I guess link it somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll
they can see all our
screen.
projects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's really about it. I've kind of isolated in my little world up there, and it's kind of nice.
Well, I was just also on the, obviously the building aspect of what you got going. But if somebody else is dealing with this addiction or depression,
absolutely,
and they want to reach out for help, man, I just wanted to offer that up to.
All right. Well, my phone number is 865-789-5543.
Wow. Okay.
There you go.
Awesome. That's
You
the best
can
way to
text,
reach out. Yeah.
You can call. I don't care.
Awesome.
I'll keep it confidential.
That's bold.
I don't got to know you. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be bored. So you might want to hang up with me. You know?
No, I promise you won't, man. Every time we've talked, every time we've got together, I've pulled so many nuggets and so much great wisdom out of everything that if somebody does reach out, then they're reaching out to a good resource. It's not just a waste of time. And
no, absolutely. I mean it. You know, people, absolutely, they can call.
Because it is, honestly, it is easier to reach out to possibly somebody unknown,
right,
and explain what's going on and confess it rather than to your spouse, your best friend, your parents.
You know, if anything, it gives you practice.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, saying it out loud to me or to anybody neutral before you have to have the hard conversations. You know, absolutely.
Yeah. And to get advice from somebody that's obviously gone through it, still going through it, still battling it all the time.
Absolutely.
Just you want to go to the experts, and so who better than somebody that's already been through it, is going through it. So, yeah, it's awesome. Thank you for offering that up. And man, I got to say it again. Thank you so much for being here, for being on the Dad Show, and being vulnerable and giving good nuggets, man. I'm proud of you, and I just can't thank you enough for being here. And
it was great to come back, man. I enjoyed this. This has been awesome.
It has been.
Yeah.
So, folks, I want to thank you for being with us once again. And if you need to reach out to Jamie, he gave you his phone number. What easier way to contact him than that? And so reach out. I know he'd be more than happy to offer a helping hand. He's helped me so many times, and I know that he would do the same for you, even though he may not know you. So feel free to reach out and connect with him. And if you can't get a hold of him for whatever reason, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with him. But as always, we want to thank you for being with us. We love you. We care about you, and we're proud of you. We hope you have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast. Please like, review, and subscribe.